The new episode of Bizarre Yet Bonafide is here a full week before I expected it, suggesting that they might actually have them all out before the game goes live. I'm guessing the timing really depends on just how spoilery the episode about the Hag of Hackett's quarry winds up being. In the first wonderful moment for fans of the game, the episode starts with Grace attempting to check into the Harbinger Motel. But unfortunately, we don't get to hear the clerk who finally rents her a room. Is this a production issue? Two people are making the podcast, so they didn't want to hire another actor. Or is it hiding something in the plot? Is the Harbinger Motel run by the Killbillies, who, up until now, I've assumed were living in the scrapyard? Grace describes the clerk as creepy and smiling a lot, yet closed-mouthed about the area. But she offers no physical description of the clerk whatsoever, which is exactly the kind of thing you'd do if you were hiding that it's going to be a known character from the game running the place. Sadly, Anton isn't in the episode at all, but we get many examples of Grace's Anton impression, which is pretty compelling in its awfulness. There's also a bunch of references to Grace being secretly in love with Anton, which I think we all assumed was the case, but it's nice to have a ton of confirmation. There's some interesting tidbits about the motel as well. While Grace isn't satisfied with its complete lack of creepiness, no creaky floors or branches scratching against windows, for example, she notes the super old fixtures, like a suspended tank toilet. This suggests that the motel has been around for a while, perhaps being run by the same family the whole time. I'm looking at you, Lance Henriksen's character. Now I'm more excited about the prospect of actually getting to see this motel somewhere in the game, hopefully. We get another reference to peanut butter pops, and now it sounds like they're a Twinkie-style snack cake? I guess I misunderstood when I thought they were a cereal. Psyched to finally find out what they look like in the shooting competition. The first big clue in the episode is about the traveling sideshow that burned down, which is referenced in the prologue. According to what Grace hears, it only happened 6 years ago, which isn't that long of a time to build up a mysterious legend, is it? Also, are there still traveling carnivals? I literally have no idea. This means that if Silas the dog-faced boy is, in fact, some kind of werewolf creature who escaped and caused the fire, he's only been in the area a short time. Why has a whole infrastructure been built up around him, and how did it happen this fast? We learn that all of the land around the quarry is owned by the Hacketts, who are mysterious and reclusive, suggesting that they'd be very unhappy to have hikers snooping around their property. Grace then brings up one of the biggest questions I've had since the game was announced. Why, if Chris knows that there are monsters of one kind or another roaming the woods, does he run a summer camp ensuring that there will be kids and teens swarming the place all summer long? She suggests that it could be an attempt to find victims for a cult, but then points out that that is a nonsense idea, since people would notice campers and counselors missing and immediately investigate. So you could only do it once. This is the number one thing I want explained during the game, since it's the biggest possible plot hole. Just like how in Until Dawn, we never got an answer as to why the authorities, or even Hannah and Beth's family, never bothered searching the mines underneath the mountain. It's not like people didn't know the mines were there, and Hannah wasn't actually that far from the entrance. Hopefully the quarry has a way better explanation. Although, honestly, we needed the money and we thought we could keep a lid on things, is all the explanation I would really need. Because if capitalism was the real villain in the quarry, that would be hilarious. Asking around town, Grace hears the whole story of the Hag of Hackett's quarry, which is presumably Eliza, but says that she's going to save it until she's back with Anton in the next episode. This decision had me legit worried that Grace was going to get killed this episode. I was desperately hoping she was going to make it out of the woods safely so we could hear the rest of the story. She does, thankfully. She had planned to spend the night in a tent at the edge of Hackett's woods, but finds everything way too creepy and nopes out after being frightened by a squirrel. This is an awesome character in every way. Before it ends, though, she brings up the possibility of being murdered and devoured by a starving hiker who had gotten lost in the woods. Now that's a hell of a thing to bring up, and it's the second reference to cannibalism in the past 2 weeks. Is this a hint that the monsters we see in the prologue are, in fact, the 2 missing hikers transformed into monstrous cannibal werewolves? That's redundant, of course. Almost all werewolves are cannibals, since they tend to eat humans. While I was disappointed by the lack of Anton, this wound up being a really good episode nonetheless, and I'm super excited to hear the final episode of the podcast, hopefully before the game launches, although I'd be fine with a kind of an ARG thing, where we have to listen to episode 6 after the game comes out to fully experience the story. Now, for a little Dark Pictures content. YouTuber Anteater has put together a Dark Pictures iceberg video. So if you'd like to get an overview of the weird depths of my favorite video game series, check it out. I'll put a link in the description below the video, and if I can figure out how, a card at the end. I've been the Hidden Object Guru. Thanks for watching. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe. If you'd like to support the channel, consider checking out our Patreon. You can join heroic patrons like Marissa, Joanne, Eduardo, Brian, and Archer in helping keep the lights on around here. If you'd like to see more, there's nightly streams and plenty of videos to check out. We'll see you back here for the next thing, but until then, au revoir.